Okay, I want to be honest with you. Here's 5 things I really like about the Fujifilm X-T3. Hello, my name is John Spartman, photographer in Birmingham in the UK. If you've never been around, I talk about Fuji gear quite a lot. I also talk about flash photography, so Godox and stuff like that, and the little accessories that come in between all of these things. If you like that kind of stuff, stick around and subscribe. Now, I've had the X-T3, which I'm filming on, by the way. I've had it for 2 years, and I bought it from Wex, which is a UK version of like Calumet, so it's a camera shop basically in the UK. And I picked it up when it was pretty new. I got the 18-55 lens, which is actually on my other camera here, 18-55, and I got the battery grip at the bottom, all in a nice little bundle, about 1,500 or so pounds. And yeah, I love this camera. You know, a lot of people, when they do these videos, they do 5 things I love about it, 5 things I hate. If I am going to do the 5 things I hate about it, I'm going to really struggle, because compared to what I've been using before, there's very little downsides to it. But with that, I'm going to attempt to tell you the 5 things I really love about the X-T3 in 2021. So number 1 is the mirrorless movement. I had, from 2010 to 2019, Canon cameras. I had 350D, 20D, 5D, 6D, 70D. Yeah, I had 5 DSLRs, and it was great because I could just change the lenses around. I would spend more money on the lenses than I would on the cameras, and just upgrade kind of when I needed them. But mirrorless, boy, when I moved to mirrorless, the difference is just astronomical. And it's not about the size. It's really not about the size. The camera's only like 20-30% smaller than a DSLR. But what you get with a mirrorless camera is you go fully electronic. There's no like optical viewfinder kind of chimping involved. Chimping, if you've never done it before, is, you know, where you take a shot and you look at it and you go, that's a bit dark, adjust some settings. Take the shot, look at it, go, oh, that's a little bit better. With an electronic viewfinder, with a mirrorless camera, you can change those settings, and the little screen inside that viewfinder is going to darken and lighten before you've taken the shot. This saves time. You get like 30-40% kind of faster shooting, because you can adjust and just take the shots instead of adjusting based on what you see through the optical viewfinder, the prism, and then you have to adjust afterwards. You can save that time and just get down to the shooting. It also makes you save your shot counts, so you go from like shooting 100 pictures to instead shooting 70. And if you're going through like a wedding where you're shooting 2,000, 3,000, it can bring it down. Your hit rate's higher, your editing is faster as a result. Number 2 is the price of the lenses is actually alright. So I'm coming from the era where a 70-200 lens, the big creamy, you know, 2.8 ones, were like £2,000. They still are £2,000, and they're monstrous. They're huge. They used to take up the space of like 3 flashes in my bag. And you know, if you're doing an event, although it's awesome to be holding it like this, oh god, it hurts your shoulders and you're getting weighed down. Mirrorlesses, because of the way they work, this is a crop sensor, so a little bit smaller than maybe a 6D. Those lenses can be made for cheaper, smaller and lighter, which means I can have potentially either less kit in my bag, save some money, or I can have more kit in my bag, depends how you work, to be able to have, you know, your whole assortment, so you're not dragging a massive bag along at the same time. On the subject of lenses, the 18-55, this 18-55, it's incredible. It is still my main lens. I have this, and I have a 10-24 lens. This I take to weddings, and I shoot the majority of my wedding work for the past 2 years on this 18-55. It's stabilized, it's tiny, it's got a good range, it's got a good variable aperture, 2.8 to f4, so it's still pretty good. Yeah, I'm not going to get that bokeh that I would with like an 85mm prime or something, but it's such a utilitarian, like a workhorse of a lens. It's incredible. And these, because they're kit lenses, they come with cameras when you're buying them. They're second-hand, like £100, £150. You cannot even buy anything close to that for like a Canon system. I remember the first Red Ring L series Canon lens I bought. It was like a 28-105 plasticky thing, monstrous zoom f4 or something. It was still like 600 quid. You know, I could be buying several of these lenses for that if I needed to, if I needed to outkit, you know, my X-T20 and my X-T3. But yeah, brilliant little lenses. So, yep, the price, the size, the quality of the lenses are perfect. number 3 is the performance. If you've got like a kind of a DSLR camera or something similar, you may find that you can shoot like 10 frames a second, 11 frames a second. You've seen all those videos of like the 1DX Mark III where they do burst fire and you hear that mirror going. Pretty cool. Sports camera. This can shoot 30 frames a second. That's faster than I'm shooting this video. It can take 30 JPEG pictures and save them to your memory card at the full 20-something megapixel quality every second, which is mind-numbing. I've never actually had to use it, but if I needed to, like if I was shooting a sports event or something, I needed that burst rate. This has it. It has sports mode. You can obviously adjust like tracking sensitivity and focus and stuff like that, but because this is fully computerized now, there's no optical pathway in the middle to get in the way, and you have to, you know, lift the mirror, then the shutters, takes a shot, closes them, puts the mirror down, bounce, 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 bounce. This literally just gives full access to the sensor, and the sensor's just turning on and off at that point. That's ridiculous. And if we're on that kind of mode, then we need to talk about all the other things. I did a firmware upgrade on this X-T3, and it's now as fast as the X-T4 to focus. Milliseconds. One of the fastest focusing cameras on the market today. This camera's 2 years old. You can buy them for under £1,000 nowadays, and it's still incredibly fast. I've never missed an opportunity with this camera. Even from turning it on, it's on and ready to go, and you can literally take a shot and it's done. It's done its face tracking, it's done its eye tracking, all this business. So I'm really happy with this kind of, as you can tell, the electronic elements inside of this camera. Oh, what would that make it? What is it? Number 4 now, I believe. So number 4 is the video capabilities. So yeah, I mean, my old cameras, they used to be able to shoot HD. And yeah, there are cameras out there which can shoot 4K and 24 frames a second or 60 frames a second. This can do all of that, which is perfect, as you would probably expect 2019, 2020. But it can also shoot in some absurd kind of bit rates. This can shoot 10-bit video. So normal cameras will shoot 8-bit. 10-bit just gives more kind of colors in between the colors. So you get more subtlety, less banding, higher definition of colors, better saturation, all this stuff. That's generally reserved for the high-end cameras. This can do it. This little thing can do it. It can also shoot at 400 megabytes per second as a kind of a capture rate. So it can shoot very rich, very high resolution images, and it can shoot it internally, which is just you can shoot it internally to SD cards. If your SD cards can handle it, it will do it for you. So that's brilliant. I shoot in 4K. I shoot 25 frames a second, 100 megabytes a second. YouTube really, you know, I'm struggling to find a reason for 400 meg, but if I wanted to do a cinema edit on this, I absolutely could. And talking about that as well, I'm shooting in a log profile, so it's kind of shooting in a bit of a washed out, kind of desaturated, decontrasted profile on the camera, which lets me gain access to more dynamic range. Pop it into my video editor, I can apply LUTs, I can make it look different ways. Previously on other cameras you would just kind of adjust your white balance and your exposure in camera, and then you would just sit there and be like, that's it, that's what I've got, can't really edit it afterwards. This you absolutely can, and because of that high dynamic range it can capture, you can, you know, recover highlights, you can boost shadows if you need to. It can also shoot in HLG, which is like a broadcasting standard nowadays. So if you're shooting multiple different camera lines, so if I was doing a shoot with my mate Kyle, he used this Sony, we both shot HLG, we can edit them on the same computer, we can use the same stuff on each one, and they will pretty much look the same, which is nice. And the 5th reason why I love Fujifilm, not just X-T3 but Fujifilm at this point, is the Fujifilm company are very good at innovating. They're not kind of muddling up their line of products. They have the X-T line and the X-E line and all this, which is a crop sensor, a little bit smaller than full frame, and then they have the medium format line, the GFX 100s, 50s, all that stuff, and there's no in the middle. Other companies will have like an entry line for customers where it's like, you know, £300, you get the budget one with the small sensor and, you know, most of the good things removed. Then you have your full frame line, which is your 5Ds and your, you know, your D 800s, which are professional but £3,000 at the same time. Then you have your medium formats, which are £15,000 cameras, which are studio exclusives. Fujifilm, absolutely, they've cut out that full frame because that market's pretty saturated. And by cutting out that full frame market and focusing on the two extremes, the smaller sensor and the massive sensor, they can really work on bringing the best kind of to the customers. So this crop sensor line, yeah, there are kind of intro ones, the XE series, for instance, but the XT series, you know, they're brilliant for £1,000. They can do the equivalent of a £3,000–4,000 DSLR. Don't be fooled that having a smaller sensor is going to give you small pictures. This shoots at the same resolution as my mate's 5D4. He has a bigger sensor, but you know the pictures are coming out the same, 20 or so megapixels. And by focusing on keeping the sensor the same and making them in-house, so they make their own sensors which are different to everyone else, but remember, they can keep costs low, they can keep innovating, they can bring things to customers that they need without the stupid price points that some other cameras may have. And then you go on to the medium formats, and I mean, they released only a couple of months ago a 100 megapixel medium format camera which has the ability to take 400 megapixel pictures for £6,000. Now, normal people like me don't need that, but I've shot £40,000 medium format cameras which can't take pictures that big, and they don't have the ability to shoot at high ISOs. They're a low ISO studio environment only. They're bridging the gap between the best technology that exists and kind of the consumer, what they want and what they want to go out and do. They're keeping it all and giving it all to their customers, which is really nice because I am such a big fan of these. And you know, you don't have to go for the X-T3 straight away. X-T20, which is very similar in kind of image quality, lacks a couple of the features. These are new, £300 nowadays, with a kit lens, new. I paid a little bit more when I got it 2 years ago, but you know, you can get into the Fujifilm market really quickly. And I didn't find any issues by kind of selling my gear and picking up some new ones. With those lenses being so cheap and so small and plentiful, you can really trade in your nice shiny Canon gear or Nikon or whatever for a small mirrorless system and be really happy with it. Myself, I don't think I'm ever going to change again unless the company goes out of business, so keep on going please. If you like this content and you maybe want to see the 5 things I don't like about the Fujifilm, I think I might be able to scrape some little things that I just, you know, could be improved together. Stick it in a second video. If you want that, comment down below. See you in a future video.